G'day, welcome back to another episode of Togl. Another very frosty morning down here at the dam, and the ice just keeps getting thicker and thicker. I was down here just an hour ago with my mate Mitch. We were amazed at how thick the ice had got. It's now after midday, and have a look at this. So this ice is probably about 1 centimetre thick, I reckon. And I'll just find a small rock here. She's pretty solid. I better stop throwing rocks, otherwise Thor's going to try and run out there and get them. Don't you? So yeah, she's pretty thick ice, and I'm thinking you might be able to just make out there's a line just there, and I think what that line is from was that this ice here didn't thaw out yesterday. Over the back would have thawed. So last night this it was already frozen, it just got thicker, and out there would have been liquid yesterday afternoon and then frozen. So I think that's what that line is for. It didn't freeze up over there underneath the ferns. It's also where the water flows in, and you can see the ducks over there having a little bath this morning. A little bit of a swim around. I didn't get much film of them on last week's episode because they were all hiding, but you can see them back in there now. Still got to be bloody cold for them though. They get cold feet. So I just wonder how much thicker this ice will get over the next few days. Frozen right up to the back. Today I need to start milling the timber for a deck and awning that I'm going to put out the front of the little tiny cabin, our little house, the little modular home. Now, one thing I'm going to try is to get one, maybe two beams that are 6 meters long, because the width of the house is 6 meters. So I want the front deck beam and the top awning beam to be one piece if I can pull it off. 6 meters is the maximum length that I can cut on the timber mill. That's as much track as I've got. And this log is exactly 6 meters, and it's right at the top of the weight that I can lift with this. It's only just barely lifted it up, and to be honest, even with the backhoe on the back, I think the weight of this is almost the same as what the weight of from the front axle back is, because she's teetering a little bit. So I've got to be a little bit careful with that. But I need to get all this bark off, then we're going to try and get it onto the mill, and I want to mill up a couple of 100 by 100 beams. So like I said, if I can get one, great. If I can get two, even better. Now with the diameter, yeah, I should be able to get two, but it's not perfectly straight. There's a kink in here. And so with that kink, you got to cut a big chunk off here and a big chunk out of there to try and get that kink out, so you do lose a lot. So anyway, I'll see how it goes, and if anything it just ends up being firewood, but hopefully we'll get the beams out that I want to get out. Well, that was fun. Quite hair-raising actually. What you couldn't see was just in behind this panel here, out there, as I came along, I needed to be right out on the edge of that soil area where it drops down so I could swing in. Hasn't been too bad, it's been quite firm, but with the extra weight of this on, that front wheel started to sink in and she started to tilt. I actually had to drop the log, or drop the bucket. Didn't drop and disconnect the log, but just drop the bucket to get the log back on the ground because she was starting to go. She was going to go over the edge. So then I had to just drag, like move the tractor back and drag it and whatnot until I could get away from that edge. Couldn't do it with the weight of this on the bucket. So now I've got mud caked up on parts of this, which I definitely didn't want to do because you don't want mud and dirt on your log. That's why I took the time to peel the bark off. So I'm going to have to give that a really good clean because the grit that's in the dirt will blunt the blade very quickly and we don't want that. And then, yeah, basically once I got it on, it was still a little bit too far that way. So all I did was, I've got a couple of points along the back of the bucket I can hook the straps to. So the straps were up and hooked to the bucket. I literally just took this strap, the right hand strap, and hooked it onto this point, and as I lifted, as you saw, it just slid across. It just moved it down very slightly, so that's all I needed to do. So I'm going to get this log cleaned up and then I'm going to work out how best to cut it. Well, I've realised that I can actually cut a 6.9 metre log, not just a 6 metre log, but this log is a 6 metre log. Anyway, jacked up this end by about 4 centimetres and I was able to then get a straight line right through. So it barely, like just there, it just barely scraped. Back here where that high lump was, I probably took off probably close to 30 centimetres. Now on the other side here, that's obviously the shallowest point there, but that is still at 170 mil. I want to cut 100 mil beams, so I've still got some meat that I can take off of the other side. So what I'll do now is flip this over. I'll start to shave the other side down, and that'll get me down to the 100, and then hopefully I can get 2 beams side by side out, which will give me my 2 100 by 100s. Now to flip that over, I could use the cantilever, but she is pretty heavy. I've got a much simpler way of doing it. I'm going to use the bucket. The way that I do that is I'll get a strap around it and put when the strap goes around and comes back through and lifts, that where it crosses, where that lift point is, I will put that directly underneath so that when it lifts it up, it flips it over. So it shouldn't be too hard to do. Now this will probably roll anyway, a little, when I take these off. We'll see. Not much at all actually. Probably only moved about 5 to 10 mil. So I get the strap on. So it's this point here that I'm talking about. I want that underneath. I've still got enough to get around the bucket and connect it on, lift it up, and it should roll over. There we are, work smarter, not harder. So I don't need those big ones anymore. I can get rid of that car jack. That's how I lift the ends, with the car jack. Now I will need to clean this up a bit. There's still mud and stuff on there. I need to get rid of that. As I said, I don't want to make the blade blunt. Well, I got myself a little distracted and forgot to keep filming, but I have managed to get these two beams that I wanted. So I've got a pile of blackwood offcuts there, and there's actually some really good timber in that, but this is what I was after, and I just managed to squeeze it out to get the two. This one cut slightly crooked up the end there, but I'll make that work. So yeah, the two beams, 100 by 100, 6 meters long. Over the last several weeks, I've noticed an alarming increase in the number of feral cats running around our block. And I know they're feral cats, they've got no collar and they are very wary, but the numbers are increasing. We are now starting to see them almost daily, and sometimes 2 or 3 together. So last night I set 2 traps, and we'll go down and we'll have a look now. Okay, so the first trap has been triggered, and it was right here near the chicken pen. And yeah, there's a feral cat right there. Yeah, no collar, definitely a feral. So it'll have to be taken off to the cat management centre, where I dare say it'll get put down, because no one's going to claim it because no one owns it. We'll go down, we'll check the other one. Other trap I had down here, just in the scrub. Down here, oh there it is. And another cat. Right, 2 for 2. God, these almost look like sisters, or brothers, whatever. They're almost the same colour, so they're probably from the same litter actually. We'll collect that one up as well. So these cats, they might look cute and they might look all cuddly. Trust me, they're not. They would rip you to pieces if you tried to put your hand on them. But they cause a huge amount of issues in Australia and overseas too, I'm sure. But feral cats, like, they're not supposed to be here. They destroy a massive amount of wildlife, and the feral cat numbers in Australia alone are probably in tens of millions. It is a problem that does need to be addressed, but you know, because there's so many cat owners, it does make things awkward. I mean, with rabbits, they had the calicivirus and myxomatosis, and yes, there are people that own rabbits as pets too, but with the cats, I think it's just that there's a little bit more political situation to that, where we can't have some sort of a feline virus get released. So we need to try and manage it the best way we can, and we need to protect the wildlife. I'm a custodian of this piece of land right here that I own, and I need to manage it. I need to control the weeds, I need to control the ferals and protect the native wildlife. You know, I took on that responsibility when I bought this block of land, and I want it to remain pristine, so that's what I need to do. So I'll continue now to keep running these traps daily and try and cut down the numbers of feral cats. Now, I can't poison either, because if I was to use poison, then I risk poisoning quolls and devils, and we do not want that to happen. So yeah, that's basically my option. Anyway, it's starting to rain. I'm going to get back inside, maybe make a warm cuppa. Well, second morning setting the traps, and the trap that's down in the bush there, I can see he's got a cat in it. But this one that's up here near the chicken coop has actually got a quoll in it, so we'll have to let this guy go. That's quite a large quoll too. He's none too happy. This is a spotted tail quoll, so we'll let it go. We do not want to hurt these. There you go, mate, come on. Free to go. Come on. There he goes. He's off. So that's, you know, the cats are out competing the quolls. We want the quolls to survive, so that's why we're catching and removing all of the cats. So yeah, one more cat today. That's good. I don't mind, as long as we can get one a day until we got them all cleaned up. That'd be great. But nice to see the quolls are still hanging around too. Chickens are secure, so I don't have to worry about the quolls getting chickens. Like I said, no one ever has a quoll problem. They have a chicken coop problem. I don't have a chicken coop problem. Just a quick mention about subscriptions and subscribing to YouTube channels. I know some people probably like, oh, I don't want to subscribe to anything. A very interesting point that was made by a friend of mine is that if you have subscribed to a channel, and it's free, it costs nothing, but if you've subscribed to a YouTube channel and you're a couple of videos behind, when you go in and select the next video that you need to watch, when that video finishes, the next one in that series should start. So they should continue to play in sequence until they're all finished watching. So for some of you who tend to you know, go several weeks and then do a little binge watch, it's a perfect way, if you've subscribed, to actually be able to watch them, because if you've got your settings set right, it won't then jump to a different video on a different channel, which I know can happen. So yeah, just a little tip about one of the advantages of subscribing to channels. Anyway, just thought I'd share that little tip. It was passed along by one of our viewers and a good friend of mine. Thanks, Pete. Well, that's it for another episode. Thanks very much for watching. And thanks very much for those people last week that jumped onto the website and upvoted against the wind turbines. Really appreciate that. Anyway, I want to get this video out to you today. We've just finished about 24 hours worth of really solid rain, which was very welcome. Put a nice amount of water in the tanks, and now it looks like we've got a beautiful day shaping up today. So till next week, stay safe, take care, have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next Friday. Thanks for watching. Cheers.